Good evening and welcome to Live from the View. We have a very, very special holiday treat for you tonight. The spiced gingers are back. Yes, they are back. These are two amazing creative people who've been on Live from the View before with all of their baking secrets. Well, they have more for the holidays. They are going to demystify holiday decorating. They are going to take the angst out of it, show you their special little tricks. So if you're a new baker, this is something that will be very helpful to you to have some little tidbits of their tricks. But if you're a seasoned baker, I think you'll find some tricks here as well. They're going to make it easy peasy. So please welcome back to Live from the View, the Spiced Gingers.
Liners. We tend to like the foil. Look, they're a little sturdier. Like the sturdier the liner you can find, the better you're going to be. In part because cupcakes can get really, really moist, and and the moisture gets stuck in there. So you want something sturdy to hold that.
And so just for this video, I messed up some cupcakes. No, really, I just messed up some cupcakes. But I kept them so that I could show you. So this is a really common problem with cupcakes, which is your liner coming off. So as Kim was saying, the heavier the liner, the less likely this is going to happen. But I'm going to give you a few tips that in doing some research on my own and figuring this out has really come to be my gospel for making cupcakes. One, as Kim was saying, it's about moisture. So a lot of times when this happens, like an error that I used to make was I would let my cupcakes completely cool in the cupcake pan. Don't do it. So what happens is you want to take them out after about 8 to 10 minutes at the most, because what's happening is as the cupcake is cooling, there is moisture evaporating, and it's pulling this liner away from the actual cupcake. One of the other things is I also made this error. I have a fantastic little cupcake carrier that's airtight and it locks on the sides, and I can decorate them and put them in there. It looks pretty. Don't put these in until you've already chilled them fully and you've decorated them, because if they are at all still warm, once again, evaporation, moisture, that cupcake liner will start to pull away.
Always let them cool fully. We suggest that you can put them in a box, like a cake box, because air is going to get sort of seep a little bit into that cake box. When you put frosting on your cupcake, it'll actually seal this bit of the cupcake, so it's not going to dry out. Once you get frosting on there, it's not going to go dry. Another tip is a water bath. If you have a little bit more of a denser cake, not quite as moist like a gingerbread, we suggest when you put your pan in the oven, you put it in another pan of water. And what that's going to do is going to keep your cupcake level. It's not going to get a dome to it. So when you're decorating a cupcake, you want a flat surface. It's the easiest thing to decorate.
And really, as Kim was saying, that's really for your denser cakes. So like if you're making, like my carrot cake is way got a lot of moisture in it. So I would not do a water bath with that because all that's going to do is it creates way moisture and pulls that liner away. But if I'm making gingerbread especially, which is a drier cake, you really want to have a little moisture to help keep that levelness. This is also a good opportunity probably to remind people of one of my favorite things, which people don't tend to know. What's the difference between baking powder and baking soda? Why do some recipes have one and some have the other? Go with the first letter. So powder and soda. Powder puffs, soda spreads. So when you see those differences, that's what's going on. Like one of my favorite recipes, my signature chocolate cake actually has an equal amount of both so that the cake actually expands all at the same rate. So,
And do not use expired baking soda
Oh, gosh,
or
no.
baking powder, or else you will have a flat cake cupcake. Flat.
are you speaking from experience?
I
Kimberly?
am.
Yes.
I am. Thank God my family loves me. So what goes well with cupcakes? You can't have a cupcake without buttercream.
Okay, so I have a couple of different buttercreams I want to show you, and I'll bring them over and let you see something. So the thing about buttercream is you're talking about different levels of buttercream, but more than that, you need to find your favorite recipe. So these are two different buttercreams. It has the exact same amount of vanilla, of heavy cream, of butter, and of powdered sugar. The difference is this one has some shortening in it, and this one has some cream cheese in it. Now, if you don't like cream cheese, don't freak out. It doesn't taste like cream cheese. What it does is it thickens it and it helps the frosting stay whiter. I am a snob. I love butter. I only want butter in my buttercream. And I want the highest fat butter I can get in my buttercream because it is just the taste and the consistency are stunning. However, when you are decorating, when you are actually trying to get any sort of height in your frosting, like even this frosting was not dense enough. It is really challenging if you don't have something of substance like cream cheese or shortening. Those things will help a great deal. And I'm going to tell you just really quickly, find your favorite recipe. I'm going to go through this one really fast with you. It is 3 sticks of butter, a half a cup of shortening in this one, and 3 sticks of butter, and half a square, which is 4 ounces of cream cheese. The rest of it is exactly the same. 3 tablespoons of heavy whipping cream, 7 cups of powdered sugar, and 2 teaspoons of vanilla. The only thing that's different is that half a cup of shortening and that 4 ounces of cream cheese. The keys to really making great buttercream, Kimberly.
You want to cream the butter very, very well. So when you put it into your mixer, you want to make sure that you get it mixed well. So if you're doing a butter and a cream cheese, put them together, make sure they're creamed really, really well. You want to slowly add your powdered sugar. So add some powdered sugar, mix it up so it gets really good. Add some more, mix it up. Then add some heavy cream, not all at the same time. You want to make it as you go. And then at the end, when you add the vanilla, here's another tip. They make clear vanilla. You want to use clear vanilla as often as you can because obviously regular vanilla is a creamy color and it'll actually make your frosting color, not white, but like cream. And then once it's all to combined, you want to beat the crud out of it. So medium high, 3-4 minutes, really get it mixed well. And that's what's going to help get it to be thick.
And I just want to show real quick. So this is a buttercream. So you can, even after you make your buttercream, regardless of what your recipe is, you can change the consistency of your buttercream. If you need it to be thinner because you're trying to really fill a lot of stuff, then you want to add more cream or milk if you're using milk. Some people use milk. So just whatever your liquid is, you'll add more and that thins it out. This is actually some of my thinner buttercream. You can see how easily that spreads. This is my thicker buttercream. And when you need to thicken, like if you end up getting your buttercream too thin, add more powdered sugar. Do it a little bit at a time, like a 1/4 cup at a time, because a little bit goes a long way when you're talking about liquid and when you're talking about powdered sugar in a recipe that's already perfected. So you can see how much denser that is and how much more it's standing up. You see how simple this is, and this has really got some sturdiness to it. So that's the difference in your buttercreams and what's happening with them. So you can adjust your buttercream at any day, at any time. You can save buttercream. You can put it in an airtight container and put it in the fridge, and it's good for a week, a little more than a week. You can actually freeze buttercream. If you're going to do that, I recommend, once again, airtight container, but putting a layer of saran wrap or cling wrap over the top of it before you put the lid on, and then you can freeze it. Do not rush the defrost or the out of the fridge to room temperature process. If you do, your butter and your cream will separate and it will never be usable. Make sure you just let it come to room temperature on its own and you stir it. You may end up having to put it back in your mixer and put a little more cream or a little more sugar with it, but just be patient.
Patience. When baking, patience is always key. So we're going to do a couple little show and tells, a little bit of how-tos, things that we thought were pretty easy. The first thing that we're going to show off is this really sort of cute little cupcake. It's actually chocolate with a peppermint frosting with a peppermint buttercream. And the great thing about frosting is that you can put so many flavors with it. So I added some peppermint extract and some lovely, which are already hardened on the outside, some little starlight mints inside. One thing I did learn with starlight mints is that it sort of clogged up the tip on my piping bag, so I had to use a much wider tip. So we're going to go ahead and make this one real quick. Got our cupcake.
And I'm going to get prepared with some of my fun decorative things.
Yep. We've got our buttercream with, you can see the little flecks of the starlight mints in there. So much fun. And then my tip is just, remember, it's got a wide opening and it's got some prongs and it's going to make this sort of pretty little flower design. And I'm just going to start in the middle and just kind of go around. You can do different sizes. You can do little ones. You don't have to be.
And there's no right or wrong. This is just your artistic moment.
Yep.
And as someone who couldn't draw a stick figure to save my life, I love this kind of freedom with art.
So done, right? Pretty easy. Now I'm going to try to undo some of this little.
While she does that, I'm going to put the little Christmas trees in.
And you can put some more little crunch into there. And then I also like.
Tree down. We have a tree down.
You can put, this is the holiday peppermint Hershey's Kiss. Just set that right in there. And voila.
And I'm going to tell you one of my tricks. I'm going to highly recommend that you never just open sprinkles and pour them, because it will never fail that the whole thing will spill on your cupcake. So I take a few in my hand and sprinkle them on. And be prepared for them to roll everywhere. You're going to be finding sprinkles for the next month. But look how fun that is and how simple that was.
Easy peasy. And Christy pointed out to me that you can actually go to Kroger or wherever you shop, and they now have like plastic tips. So you can do this at home. You don't have to go to Joann's and buy a whole thing. They also sell one tip at a time. The nice thing about Wilton tips is if you go on Pinterest and they say use Wilton numbered 1B, they actually put a number on it so you know what it is, but you don't have to do that. The next thing we're going to make.
I'm actually going to show you that I'm using a pretty similar tip to what Kim just used that flowers with. I'm just using a different pattern of making a scroll with it. And then one of my favorite things to do is just to take it and go, boom. There you go. Instant decoration. Okay.
And the great thing about buttercream is it tastes good. Whether it's uber decorative or like the best flower you've ever seen, doesn't matter, because it's going to taste amazing and you're not going to care. The next thing we're going to do is some cute little snowman and some Christmas trees.
To do a cute little snowman, and I'm going to tell you about a fun little tool. So I put some green frosting on here earlier, and I specifically made it really rough because I want it to look like grass. So now I'm going to try, and this is a really big opening of a tip. Okay. So I'm going to try to make a pretty portly snowman because I want to give him a little hat. And then where are they? Ah, these are really fun things that you can buy, and it's called an edible marker. So it would really weigh this buttercream down for me to try to put like little eyes in or little coal mouth, okay? So what I'm going to attempt to do, and this buttercream's really fresh, so it may be hard. I'm going to attempt to draw on a face. This buttercream is really, really wet at the moment. Normally I would put this in the fridge and let it set up a little bit more. It kind of looks like the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. I guess it's a Ghostbusters thing. It works. But then a fun thing you can do with the grass, let's see if it holds, is just grab some powdered sugar on a spoon. And you can make some Insta Snow. Cool. Okay. Not my best snowman, but he'll do. He does look like the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. See, look how my little French one. Yeah, he's so much cuter. My little French guy's awesome. So, all right. What do we have next, Kimberly?
Next, we are going to make a, we're going to do the Christmas tree. A couple of options for Christmas trees.
Okay. So, talking about an awful lot of Christmas stuff, aren't we? All right. So, are you going to do that peppermint first?
And then I'll do that.
All right. So what I'm going to do here for this cupcake, while Kimberly's doing a little bit of a different design, I'm going to like just take my white again and try to make some snow. And so that gives me a border in which I can then take, and just to show you what tip, we tend to use a very similar tip, but this gets a lot of things done, these type of open star tips. So, and it's the same philosophy as I just did with the snowman, which is where you're building up. The only thing I'm going to do different is I'm going to twist a little bit as I do it so that I can get like, no tree is just straight up and down. And then just pull up and release. I have a little Christmas tree. I can take a few, I can get them to unstick from the bowl. And I can drop a few decorations on here. Let's see a few of the smaller ones. And I'm not kidding you, you'll be finding these little sprinkles everywhere for a while, but just remember how much fun you had doing this. Don't worry about the fact that you're finding sprinkles everywhere. And this one, this one?
Yep, this one.
Okay, so this one I actually made some Christmas trees earlier. And I'm going to show you in just a second. So I'm just going to stick that right in my cupcake. And ta-da! I have a Christmas tree. Now, all this is things they're called meltables, or they're called melting wafers. It's melting chocolates is really what you're looking for. If you had just like chocolate, you could do it, but the consistency is going to be off. So I'll tell you that the consistency of meltables is a little bit different. And I highly recommend, do not make my error. Every manufacturer of these things is a little bit different. So for example, my green, I messed it up the first time because normally what you do is you put a little bit of heavy cream in a bowl, you heat it very slowly in the microwave, you pull it out, you put the meltables in, you stir them, you move them around. And if they're not quite melted, you just put them back in the microwave for like 15, 18 seconds at a time and stir them. Don't go crazy, like putting them on 30 seconds and stuff, because they will be destroyed and they'll separate. I say separate a lot, but it happens a lot in baking. So look at everybody's instructions, because everybody's instructions are going to be a little bit different. But one of my favorite things about this is this really is a fun little craft thing. So here's another little tree I made. And so all this is pretzel sticks for the limbs. And then I took, and Kim's going to show you in a minute how to do this. You don't have to have piping bags. This doesn't have to be fancy. This is a Ziploc bag. I put the stuff in there, and then I cut the smallest little hole out of the bottom. For these, I actually went a little bit bigger so I could get these big, like Dr. Seuss sort of tree limbs going on. But here's the fun part. All I did was take a piece of parchment paper and I drew out what my triangles were going to be, and I made 3 of them at once. But I didn't make them on the parchment paper.
The video plan.
I put this inside my handy dandy little Ziploc bag. I laid out my pretzel sticks. I took my meltables, put it on here before it got anywhere. I put my decoration on it, and then I let it sit in the room for like 30 minutes. Then I actually put them in the freezer. And they sat in the freezer for about 2 hours, and they come out and you have your little food. And now you can manipulate them and put them where you want to. So that's just an easy little craft that anybody can do. And you can do the same thing with bells. You can do it with, if you want to make snowmen, if you want to do whatever you want to do. This little stencil thing is a really fun idea, and the Ziploc is a huge help to not having a lot of mess. Kimberly?
So next, we're just going to spend just a little bit of time talking about mini Bundt cakes, which I have learned to love. This is 2 chocolate mini Bundt cakes that I put together to start making a pumpkin. Again, you want to get a tip on your bag that's kind of straight, so it's going to make a straight edge. I put a little buttercream in between the 2 pieces just to sort of stick it. It's okay, it's not there. Just to stick it together. And then this is a turntable, so turnies are good. And then you're literally just going to pipe it up and pipe it up. Pretty easy. You do it all the way around. And then
when I was making gingerbread cookies, I made some stems, knowing that we were making pumpkins.
Try to make I'm not good at this. I'm just learning how to use this tip, but you kind of get the gist. You can do a little, and now you have a little pumpkin. I also love making these little Christmas wreaths. So you can, again, it's just 1 mini Bundt, and I didn't frost around it, but you can certainly frost around it. And then I just made leaves all around and put little edible decorative balls on there. And it's just an easy little thing to do. I'm thinking putting it at the plate.
Oh, it's already dried.
It's already dry. Yeah. Thinking about putting it at each place setting on Christmas or at a Christmas party or something. Really, really simple. You can even just put some green frosting on there, put a couple little balls. You don't even have to make leaves. So it's pretty simple. But this might be my favorite.
Yeah, I'm loving the pumpkin Bundt. And I'm going to take a minute and go, hi, we have a website, Spiced Gingers, plural, because there's 2 of us, .com. Okay, that's our shameless plug. Okay,
So we've done cupcakes. We've done buns. Next is cookies.
and before we get there, I'm actually going to do a quick bring 2 things together, which is the cupcake and the cookie. You probably saw it when our producer did a scan over here. But so I feel like I should offer a disclaimer that I love pumpkin. I don't care what it is, I love pumpkin. And so this is something that we have created this year, and it's spiced pumpkin buttercream, which I'm mad in love with. And so what I'm going to do is just take, this is a gingerbread cupcake. Now, gingerbread cupcakes they've got their own spice to them, and you can actually see from this, remember we were talking about the liners? You can tell that this is a drier cake because that liner is like tight on that cupcake. Okay. So this being pumpkin follows the spice of the gingerbread, but then the buttercream is going to give it this really sweet, tangy flavor. And so all I'm going to do, I'm going to make a mound. I'm not going to actually cover the whole thing. I've got my little mound here. I've got my little gingerbread man.
I heard it all.
That is something, remind me to talk about this in just a second. So this is not complicated. I am not going to get fancy schmancy. This is literally like, I think this is a Wilton 5 tip. Just a little bitty pinpoint tip. And I'm just making some little mittens and pants, because we all need pants. Unless you're SpongeBob, then you, well, I guess he has pants. He has square pants. Square pants.
Yeah, that's like.
Okay, that's not really what it's for. And you will have to clean your tip every once in a while, especially these smaller ones, they get clogged really easily. And so this is, if you think about when I was talking to you about buttercream, this is a thicker buttercream because I'm trying to do some detail work. And I don't need it to run. So my little gingerbread man. And then I'm gonna give him a little home on my gingerbread cupcake. So I would normally take more time and that would look much better, but you know, we can look over here at my yesterday.
It's not about perfection, Christy.
It's not, it's about fun, but yeah, he looks a little psycho, but we're gonna get over that. So what I was gonna say about cookies, and our organized chaos here and our sprinkles and all this stuff. It is never a bad time to walk through, and I don't mean to make a pitch, but it's never a bad time to walk through Joann, Hobby Lobby, Walmart, Target, whoever, Kroger. Every time I go through a store now, I go to their decorating area and go, what are they closing out? What are they getting rid of? What do they not want anymore? Because these things come in packages. So you can see the plastic ones here, and I'm going to get them all over here and get one of the bags. So these are all the time on sale at Joann's for $1. And so I just stock up on them whenever I can, because you never know when you're going to need some sprinkles in your life. So grab this kind of stuff. But what made me think of it when we were doing the cookie just then was, ooh, my hip snowman's about to fall. Oh no, we have cookies down. Buy cutters anytime you can get them. It doesn't matter if you already have a gingerbread, because they do wear out. They're not that thick. And if you bake like we do, I mean, I will have to replace these by the end of the season. So whenever you see something on sale, whenever you see something on sale, grab it. And it's also, you know, fun colors. Like, how often do you think about lime green and pink at Christmas? But it works. So bring them together. Grab some fun stuff.
And you get to shop.
Are
we ready for cookies?
Sure. Let me move my little
Cupcake cakes.
my little cupcakes.
So cookies, any cookie will do, right? Whatever your favorite cookie is, chocolate chip, pecan, doesn't matter, whatever your favorite cookie is. Today we're gonna work with some shortbread cookies. We're gonna work with some ginger people, and we're gonna work with some sugar cookies. So sugar cookies are sweeter, right? Sugar's in the name. Shortbread, it's literally 3 ingredients. It's sugar, it's butter, and it's flour. It's not going to be as sweet. So if you don't like you're not an uber sweet person, this might be a good cookie for you to put some frosting on, because it's not going to get overwhelmingly sweet. And then gingerbread is spicy. I love a gingerbread. So if you, again, don't want anything uber sweet, you want a little spice, a little kick, the gingerbread is your man.
It's ginger people, Kimberly, ginger people.
So, yes, it's ginger people. So when you're decorating cookies, there are several kinds of icing. We actually prefer royal icing. Royal icing is great because, I'm going to grab one of these. This is royal icing. It hardens as it dries. So that's one of the best things about it. I can touch it and it's not going to come off. The bad thing about, or con about royal icing is it takes at least 4 hours to dry. So once
At a minimum.
So once you get it on your cookie, you need to let it sit overnight. So this isn't a decorate on Christmas Eve and wait for Santa to come. This is decorate on the, 22nd and then wait for Santa to come.
Yeah. And so this is a practice of patience and artistry. And this is also a great moment for me to tell you a little bit about royal icing. So royal icing is pretty simple. But one of the things I want to tell you about royal icing, once again, find your favorite recipe. This is meringue powder. Royal icing has meringue powder in it. And all meringue powder is it's powdered egg white. The reason, and I love meringue powder for a lot of things. I will actually even put this sometimes in my cakes and my cupcakes because it gives it a little pop. The reason meringue is so important in royal icing is because a lot of times with royal icing, you're trying to get this tough exterior. If you see really filigreed wedding cakes, if you see like a lot of detail, even on a wedding cake, they've done it with royal icing because it will harden. You would never ice a cake with royal icing because it would just be a hot mess. This is really about decoration.
But it's not crunchy. It's not crunchy when you bite into it. Don't think about like hardened chocolate shell over ice cream. It's still very soft.
So still sugar cookie, and now I'm gonna have to eat that. Oh man. So I'll take a sugar cookie. But I wanted to show you guys a little bit, and Jeremy, I'll come out of my messy space and show this. I want to show you guys a little bit about royal icing. So with royal icing, it's really simple. It's meringue powder, it's powdered sugar, it's vanilla, and the secret ingredient, because I know a lot of people don't actually put this in their royal icing, is light corn syrup. And what the light corn syrup does is it gives, instead of your icing, like you watched me a minute ago when I was doing the gingerbread man with the buttercream, that buttercream was just thick enough that it was actually breaking a little bit on me. The elasticity of the buttercream was not as good. The corn syrup gives that elasticity to what you're working with. So instead of my lines for the leaf breaking, it was just a constant line, okay? I can actually show you what happens when you don't use corn syrup. Can you see the air holes that happened in the star? That is because I used a batch of royal icing that did not have corn syrup in it. And I actually did that on purpose so I could show that. So FYI. So I want to show you real quick. Let me grab a spoon.
Another tip, I think, while she's grabbing that, is when you are going to use royal icing, the smallest tip you can find, that's what you want, because you're outlining and filling in. You don't need to create big sweeping things like you would normally do with buttercream.
Where did my snowman go?
Do you know?
I don't know. Let's see my snowman.
I get you one.
He has run away.
Like unmade snowman?
No, I'll just use this. No, that's my. Oh, you got it. I'll use one of my tacky sweaters. I have a tacky sweater cooker. Okay. So I'm going to show you this because this is 3 different kinds of royal icing that I've got here. So this is a medium consistency. If you can see how that moves. So what I did with that is I have a little more warm water in it. Warm water thins it. Okay. This is my thickest. I mean, look at that's like glue. Okay. You want this, and I'm going to show you just in a second, for outlining your cookies or outlining your space that you're going to work in, because then when you go to fill with the thinnest version, which that's just like marshmallow fluff is what that's actually the consistency of, then that doesn't bleed off of the edge of your cookie. Okay. If you're doing this with a family, you can make a whole bunch of the fill and just let it bleed off the side of the cookie, because who cares? You're going to eat it. That doesn't matter. So this is fill, and I think I've got some line here. Yep.
I thought his name was Bob.
Whoops, I gotta get a hole in the bottom, but it's not gonna work. Okay. This, I will tell you that the more dense frosting that you have, whether it be royal icing or frosting, if it's the really dense stuff, it's the really thick stuff you're working with, Ziploc baggies don't work so well because you're sealing it off. And it tends to like break the edge and stuff like that. So I really always try to use a piping bag when I'm working with really thick stuff. So I'm just going to very quickly try to outline this cookie for you. Let's see if I can sort of show you what I'm doing. Okay, so there's the outline of the cookie. Okay, and I just put my finger in it. So be prepared to do that too. And it's okay. That's why we have an apron on. What did I just do with my scissors? There they are. Okay. Now I'm going to throw them away.
Also, you'll notice that she had the royal icing in the bag, but it was still sealed. Like she hadn't cut the tip yet, because you want to keep it sealed. If you keep it out, it will harden just like it's supposed to, and then you won't be able to use it. So make sure that while you're using it, you have it. But as soon as you stop, you cover it up, you seal it.
So you can see this is flowing a whole lot easier. Hey, Kim, would you get that very expensive tool that I highly recommend people have when they're working with royal? It's right over here by the multiples.
Okay. Oh, yes. This costs us a lot of money. So you better hold on to them, because they're really, really important.
I could have filled this a lot prettier and just like going around in circles, but I'm just trying to get it in there. And so I'm going to take a knife and I'm going to I'm gonna like put it in its place. This looks more like a ghost than a snowman at the moment, but he will have personality eventually. Let's see here. So one of the things with the fill that if you ever watch Pinterest or Instagram or any of the socials that you want to see how people are doing stuff, you will see them do this. Why are they doing that? They're trying to get the fillable to spread out evenly and lose its air holes. And so this very expensive little tool, you see my little air pockets that I have here? That is to help me push it without having to get my hands on it into those air pockets. So that then when I set my cookie up, it will dry flat. Let me fix that and take a little bit of that frosting off. But Kim, would you grab the one that's finished so they can see what it looks like? Cool dude with a hat, maybe? When you're done, that's what it looks like. And is this the one that okay, so this one I actually use the little black rounds on, okay? But once again, you can use, didn't I have one I did with edible marker? Anyway, you can do it with edible marker as well. So if you painted everything in, especially on these small guys, it really helps sometimes just to have the marker because the decorations won't stick. Now, the problem is that's going to take 4 hours to dry. At least I usually let them dry overnight just so that they're good and solid. Okay, I probably went longer on royal icing than I should have, but go ahead. So real quick, I'm just going to sort of stick with the pumpkin theme with my little shortbread cookie, same little icing, and we're just gonna make another whoop. What did you do? You know, again, so to make it look like a pumpkin to the best of my ability. And then you can make little swirlies. I think you can put little, if I can figure out how to make this work right, the leaves are, you gotta practice with the tips, guys. It's never gonna just come to you. It takes time. But don't get worried about it. Just enjoy the lesson and figuring things out and making new designs. And I'm about to show you a new design with that fancy tool that you need to buy at the grocery. So again, there's my little buttercream, little icing. So I just put some fillable, and I would normally take a little more time on this, but I just want to show you guys. That's the fillable royal icing, and this is just some green gel coloring. And so I'm going to make a swirl through here, and it will dry with that appearance, as Kimberly can show you. Now that my fillable was also blue. So, but these are ways that you can make things a little bit differently. There's no pattern to it. You don't have to use a tip. You can just do something different and use all your colors. Really quickly, gel versus liquid color, food color. If you use water-based color, it will change the consistency of what you're working with. Now, sometimes it's not a problem. Sometimes you don't need a lot of color and you got a lot of product, doesn't matter. But gel is not going to change the consistency of what you're working with, and gel goes a lot longer. Like I need maybe a third of this that I would if I was using a water-based food color to get the same intense look. Okay. One more thing I want to show you on cookies. I know we're getting low there. This is my stained glass cookie. And all this is the other kind of thing I want to tell you about, which is you've got frosting, you've got icing, and you've got glaze that is hiding from me at the moment. Help me. Oh, thank you. So this is glaze. So it's the same concept. This will dry a little faster than royal icing, but not as fast as buttercream, which doesn't really dry, but you know what I mean, set. So all I would do, I'm going to try to do this quickly. Kim, can you put some color on a toothpick for me? So I'm just glazing this.
It's going to have to be
And you can
green.
see that's fine. You can see the consistency. And all I'm going to do is that stained glass concept as well. I'm going to drop a couple of spots, and then I'm just going to place it through. Okay, so this is actually, and you'll see it's going over the sides. That's okay, all the better. Ooh, got my finger. But, and so then I would just set that flat, and that will become another piece of art. Okay, what am I going to do next? I know we're getting close.
I think we're done. I
Are
mean, we forgot about cookie pies.
Oh, let me do this real quick. So this is super easy, guys. Once again, if you've got something you like, this is one of my personal favorites. So my gingerbread cookie with my spiced pumpkin filling. And you can literally just take a knife and put this on there, but I'm just going to be all cutesy and, well, maybe it'll stay. And put it in there just like in the same pattern Kim was doing on that cupcake. Don't press it too much, just kind of set it there. Put it in the fridge, and tomorrow this will be all solid. You can take it out, you can put it on a platter. It can come to room temperature and it'll hold together. Right now, if I let it go, that buttercream is going to slide. But you can put this in the fridge, let it set, and then it will come out as a little cookie sandwich.
So yeah, so I think we've done cupcakes, we've done buttercream, we've done cookies, we've done icing. I think you can do it yourselves, right? It's pretty easy. Pinterest is there. We use it a lot. You can use store-bought icing. It's not going to do the same thing, right? But if you just need to put a little bit of frosting on a cookie, you can certainly put it in a bag and put it in a tip and put it on it. You don't have to make your own, but frosting is really, really easy to make once you've made it a couple of times.
And this is what Kim was talking about earlier. So now when a lot of times when you buy the tube frosting in the store, which is already made, and I'm just not into it because it's not butter based, and I'm weird about that. But they come with these little tips now, because these are basically the standard tips, which is the open hole and the open star. So these actually come when you want to buy that $3 thing. And for working with a family, this is fine. Kim and I have all this fun stuff because we're constantly going, what does this do? So we just want to play with it and have a good time. It's really about having a good time. As you saw, none of these were masterpieces. Nobody's going to be calling me and, giving me thousands of dollars for a cupcake. Though if you would like to, I would give it to a good cause, which is probably Kim and I. But as you can see, I mean, even we saved Halloween candy, we saved Easter candy, because we can break those up and we can use them for things like this. Make sure you show them this sweater. But have fun with cookie cutters, with gels, with frostings. Just, it's about having a good time with your family and having something fun and sweet to eat at the end. But shameless plug, we are Spiced Gingers. It is plural, spicedgingers.com. So we hope you have a fantastic holiday season. Again, thank you so much, Live from the View, for having us back. And we hope you guys have really enjoyed this. Happy holidays.
Happy and merry.